This week's full moon is in Scorpio, the sign of the moon's fall. And yeah, that's not considered the moon's favorite sign, but what can we do with this energy anyway? And what might we expect from this full moon coming up on May 12th in Scorpio? Hi, I am Crystal and Sophia. I'm your family astrological magician. And today I'm actually going to take you through the chart of this full moon so we can talk not only about the folk magic and the magic that we can use around a full moon, but also the astrology of it. I'm going to show you everything there is to see and how we would work with the chart to look at this. So let's go. Okay, so here we're looking at the chart in the Luna Astrology software program. If you wanted to check this program out, I can give you 10% off in the description of this video. But what we can see from looking at the chart is on May 12th, 2025, over here at 12:55 p.m., so just after noon, we have the perfection of this full moon. Perfection basically just means that if we take the moon here, isolate her on this chart, and look at where she is, she's at 2212 Scorpio, and she is exactly opposite the sun at 2212 of Taurus. So we have this full moon because the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So the moon gets all of the light from the sun and can appear full from our perspective. We, of course, the earth, are in between the two of them. And it's not an eclipse because it's not at a perfect angle for the earth to block out the moon. So we just have a full moon, which is great. We prefer a full moon in Scorpio that's not an eclipse, to be perfectly honest with you. We had those a couple of years ago. They're done now for a few more years. What we're expecting from this is, of course, the moon in the sign of her fall. She's not able to do those lunar things that she would typically want to do. So maybe on this day, we have the scorpionic idea of a fixed water sign. So think of still waters, think of like a lake rather than an ocean or a river. This water is not moving. It's a little bit more stagnant. And so it's those emotions that are kind of stuck in there, or the emotions that we don't really think about much. And so these emotions may be at the forefront. These thoughts, these feelings may be informing our actions on this day. So it's a really great idea to be cognizant of what we're thinking and what we're feeling and how we're doing. If you can feel it in your body, all of those kinds of things, you'll be a step ahead of being able to manage what this moon is really bringing up for you. And of course, if you want to look personally in your own chart and say, how does this actually specifically mean something for me? You're going to want to look at where Scorpio falls in your chart. For example, if we were to take this chart as a natal chart, we would say this person is a Leo rising because that AC there is in Leo, which puts Scorpio in their fourth house. So fourth house topics may be the area of life where these feelings are coming up. And so if you have that in the ninth house, it would be ninth house topics. It's really easy to research online some keywords for the house of what you're looking for. I also have a course on my website that helps explain your natal chart to you. So feel free to use that if it's helpful. So what we're getting into here then, thinking about the moon in general, is of course, it's a full moon, like we said, in fall. She is in Scorpio. We have these deeper feelings kind of coming up to be addressed. So we want to be aware of them. We want to let them in. But also, the moon is not doing this in silence, right? She has the sun having a conversation with her by opposition. But also, we're really close to that trine with Saturn. Uranus is also nearby if we wanted to look at this. So if I bring this up, Uranus is close to the sun. So I'm going to consider that because the moon will be talking to Uranus by the end of this day. That's a conversation that will happen over the course of the day as well. And then we don't want to overlook the fact that Mars is squaring this lunation. So every time we have something in fixed signs right now, Mars is impacting it because Mars is also in a fixed sign. Leo is fixed fire. The fixed signs are Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. So if you have any important placements in those signs and it's been a rough couple months for you, that might be because of Mars. So checking on Mars there, knowing that that's the situation, and knowing that right now, one of the things I really want to bring up for people, because these times are feeling unusually arduous, it's partially explained by the fact that both of our benefic planets, that's Jupiter, the greater benefic, and Venus, the lesser benefic, only because she's smaller, these two are both in signs of their detriment. So just like the moon isn't doing hot right now, the two benefics are not able to function properly either, and they haven't been able to for a while. Venus went through an entire retrograde. Jupiter has been in Gemini for a year. The good news is in early June, this year, they both enter signs where they are really doing well. Venus will come into Taurus, Jupiter will come into exaltation in Cancer. And so we will have both benefics functioning at their highest capacity at that time. Also, for a period in June, I don't think it's before Venus gets out, but we'll finally have Uranus out of Taurus as well. So June does seem to have this lighter energy to it, just in an overall sense, something that we can look forward to in a couple of weeks. Right now, with this full moon, we are taking into account that both benefics are still in their detriment, that Saturn and Mars, while they're not in any essential dignity, they still aren't in detriment situations. So they are able to witness and function in a sense. So there's nothing saying you're really good at this, but there's nothing taking it away either. And so, with that, we just want to recognize kind of the situation of the sky that provides context for this moon. The ruler of the moon also is Mars. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So, taking Mars into account, knowing that Mars and Venus are in that trine, Mars is doing okay. Mars can witness the moon, like we said, by square. So, just knowing that Mars, as the manager of this situation, is able to do martial things. So, just knowing that conflict can be something that comes up with this. Ambition may still be like put into it. If you're deciding like this is the last straw for something, whatever this boundary is that I'm about to hold, whatever this form of trust is with Scorpio, that I'm about to decide I do trust it or I do not trust it, that's something that may come up for you around this time, especially in the context of whatever house Scorpio is in your natal chart. Also on this day, we have another perfecting transit coinciding with that. I hope that didn't pop out. What we have this day also is going to be a square between Mercury and Pluto. So you can see they're very tightly in their square. They will perfect this on this day. Mercury is then going to be able to translate some of what Pluto does to us through the mercurial way of doing things. So be aware of conversations we're having right now with the context of trust being a big topic and Mercury also being in Taurus, opposite where that moon is. The idea, and again, we have another fixed sign here where Pluto is, the idea of transformative conversations that lead to a deeper trust or a shifting of trust is totally on the table. So we'll just keep that in mind as well. The way I would really interpret of like, how can you actively be involved in this? Find anything that you feel resentment towards. That's like that deep-seated anger over something. And let's work on what forgiveness actually is, by the way, because it's not, oh, I forgive you for this and you're off the hook. Let's view forgiveness in the scorpionic sense of you no longer live rent-free in my mind. I've evicted you from my mind. And therefore, I have done something that allows my mind to move on from this. I have done something and thought in such a way or felt as deeply as I need to come to terms with however this situation is and to no longer be thinking so much about this situation or about the person that caused a break in trust or caused some other kind of conflict. Affirmation to help with this would be that I am able to forgive for my own sake. And my phone even just went off. Anybody who watches the podcast or any of the other things I do, when my phone goes off, it's usually a sign that there was something good that was said. So redefine what forgiveness is. It is not allowing someone to be off the hook. It is evicting them from living rent-free in your own head. And that is really all that's necessary. We don't need to think about forgiveness as some kind of passive thing, right? It is a very active process and it is something that is good for you and lets you move forward. And so whether that includes that person coming back into your life at some point or not is not really the major focus. So just know that you are able to forgive for your own sake and you can release these resentments that are holding any kind of space in your energy and use this moon for that kind of situation. If you want to think about it more magically, you are banishing that negative energy from your space during this full moon. So I recommend it. This is not a moon that I would recommend full moon water for if you're someone who likes to do full moon water, just because the moon is not great. This moon in Scorpio and a full moon in Capricorn are two that I would avoid, as well as any lunar eclipse situations. Right now, that would be Pisces and Virgo full moons. You want to just be aware because they might be eclipses at this period of time. So, with that in mind, I hope that whatever it is that you need to release, whatever it is that bubbles to the surface, is something that you take another Scorpio topic of and you convert it into your own power. That is what I want for you. This forgiveness, this evicting someone from living rent free in your mind actually is going to give your power back to you. And that is a huge power move for you this week. I hope that it is something that feels incredible and that you feel renewed, and that you can move forward in the best of ways. Have a great week.